Great day. Today is a great day. We have a family with us from, first from CUT in some instances, then from the Universal Foundation of Better Living. I see some UFBL faces in the place. Stand up. Let us love you. Let us bless you. Don't be afraid. Stand up. I see my classmate pretending like I don't recognize that she's my classmate from ministerial training. Yeah, let us love you. Welcome home. So we are continuing in our guidelines for a master series, and today we look at some of the specific tools that we as Christian metaphysicians use in order to transform our consciousness. So the tools that we are looking at and working with today are the tools called denials and affirmations. Denials and affirmations are tools that help us to transform our consciousness. These tools help us to transform the way we think, the way we feel, the attitudes that we present, the dispositions from which we move, the error beliefs. These tools help us to reshape and recraft and transform consciousness. Does that make sense? We do recognize, or at least I do recognize, that tools are important whenever you are working to build a thing. Tools are important whenever you are working to build a thing. And it doesn't make a difference if the thing that you are working to build is a relationship or a physical structure or even building your consciousness. It requires tools to help us be successful in the building of those things that we have decided that we should build. But then we also recognize that all tools are not created equally. And all tools cannot be used for the same thing. For those of us who only have a hammer as a tool, every challenge that presents itself looks like a nail. Right? Because you want to use the tool that you have. And it's not just in the possession of the tool, it also requires that the quality of the tool be up to par for that which you are planning to purpose it. Does that make sense? See, I'm reminded of the story of the young man who went on a job interview, and part of his interview required that he chop wood. He was required to chop wood. He chopped wood so good, in fact, that he was hired for the job. But on his first day of the job, he chopped less wood on that day than he did even in his interview. And so they fired him. And in his exit interview, the boss asked, well, how come you performed so poorly today when you did so well in your interview? And the young man said, I don't know. I was working hard. I kept going at it. And the gentleman asked him, well, did you ever sharpen your axe? So it's not just enough to have the tools. It's important that the tools be sharpened. When we look at denials and affirmations, we recognize that these are tools that help us to transform consciousness. We said on last week that the way that the soul works is it takes the thoughts and the feelings that we present to the subconscious nature, and the subconscious nature uses those thoughts, aligns them with the feeling, and it uses that pattern to produce something in our life. Is that right? So what denials and affirmations give us the ability to do is reshape the die or remake the pattern if in fact in our lives we see that what's showing up is not quite what we want to have. And so we have this ability then to reshape and to remake and to recreate the things that are showing up. It's not permanent. Say it's not permanent. We have tools. And as Christian metaphysicians who understand the Christian healing work of Jesus Christ, we do recognize that when Jesus was going about his work, he did not stay solely in the appearance of what things appeared as they appeared to be. When Jesus encountered the person with the withered hand, he said to them, "Stretch out your hand." He was not looking at the appearance, he was looking at the possibility. When Jesus said to the blind man, "Open your eyes and see," he was not looking at the appearance, he was looking at the possibility. When Jesus was confronted with the woman who had all these issues, he did not stay stuck in her appearance. Even her own consciousness helped her get to what was possible. Are you still with me? And I'm prefacing it this way because when we begin to unpack these denials and affirmations, there are some very clear, direct statements that we find in these denials and affirmations, and they fly in the face of what you see. And I want us as adept Christian metaphysicians to be able to use the power to look above and beyond what we see in order to see clear through to the truth. Does that make sense? What is a denial? For those of you who have this part of the insert, your insert says the most necessary part of learning is to unlearn our errors. Is that right? It says we are constantly making choices in the process of living, and in order to have peace and happiness, we must wipe out of our minds the mistaken beliefs that make havoc in our lives, right? And so we say that the denial is the soap and water of the mind. We say that denials can be presented silently or audibly. We see and hear the words of John the Baptist when he says, "Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand." He's saying, turn away from the thing that is showing up, even though the way it's showing up is causing you so much confusion. Turn from that thing so that you can turn to the power that is within you. Does that make sense? When we are using denials, we are denying out of consciousness old error thoughts. When we are using denials, we are denying out of consciousness old error feelings. But I do want to point out that while you can erase or change a thought, it requires a little more intention to erase or change the feeling. Can I work with that for a little bit? See, you can have a change of mind, and in the instant that you change your mind, you can instantly be given a new thought or something else to think. But it takes more than a change of mind to have a change in the way you feel. See, this is part of why we come here Sunday after Sunday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday after Friday, and we hear people saying to us, everything is possible and available to you, but we find ourselves walking back into the same experiences and not moving past into the thing that you say is possible. How come I'm not having it? Sometimes it's because you don't believe it. If you don't believe that it is so, then you will not have what has already been prepared for you. See, Jesus says, it's done unto you as you believe, not just as you think. And so if you want to have your denials be effective, don't just work it on your mind, work it also in the way that you feel. Are you still with me? When we are working through the Christ mind, it's not difficult to eliminate the beliefs in strife and contention. Gary Simmons says it this way: you're either the way of Christ or you're in the way of Christ. When writing to the church, Paul said it this way: if anyone is in Christ, they are a new creation. The old passes away and the new has come. But how many of you know that sometimes you get attached to your old stuff even when your old stuff no longer works for you? It's mine, right? I know how I have a temper, but it's my temper. I know I have some bad habits, but they're my bad habits. I know I'm difficult to get along with, but it's my difficulty in order to have you get along with me. And so we must be willing to release those things that we have identified as our own. Mm-hmm. I like the way Emily Cady says it. She says, we have learned and actually proved that we can, by a persistent effort of the will, change the beliefs, and by this means alone, entirely change our troublesome circumstances and bodily conditions. You can, in truth, deny out from the experiences that you are under. So now let's get to it. Let's get to what some of these denials are. Let's get to the four basic error thoughts that we deny. And let me just put this in here parenthetically. When we are using denials, we are saying that the thing that we are denying, that it does not have power over us. As a spiritual being. Right? We're saying that there is no reality in the thing that we are denying, and we are withdrawing the life that we have been giving to it, and so it no longer can have power over us, particularly because we are spiritual beings. Are you still with me? Okay. And so then the first basic error that we deny is we say there is no evil. 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 Now, I know that this can present as some contradiction to us, because it seems like day after day after day after day, some outlet is reporting from somewhere about some heinous act that's been performed or perpetrated by somebody somewhere. But then you've got the nerve to say that there is no evil. So even when someone who has not reconciled their own sexuality goes and shoots up a club in Orlando, that's, you're telling me, is not evil? When someone goes and walks into a church and just starts shooting innocent people for no reason, you're telling me that's not evil? This says that there is no evil. So then, if there is no evil in reality, but we see things happening that certainly appear to be like evil when we see them and when we hear them and when we experience them, where is the disconnect? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. If there are no people, then the things that we deem as evil are not defined as evil. Let me say it to you this way. A forest fire can destroy homes and lives, but we don't consider that to be evil. An earthquake can uproot and unsettle an entire community, but we don't consider that to be evil. A leopard can run down a gazelle and have it for dinner, but we don't consider that to be evil. It's only when the highest creation acts and performs in ways that are inconsistent with how they were created that we start to see things outside of the divine prism in which they have been presented. See, it's only when people get involved that the nonsense shows up. It's only the stuff that the people do that causes the discord and the disharmony in the life, world, and affairs of other people. So then, if the people get it together, there will be no more expressions of evil. But the people have to get it together. So I love how we present it. We say everything that exists or ever will exist is pressed out of the body of God, God's substance in different forms of manifestation. Everything leaves out what? Come on, you know what everything leaves out. It leaves out no thing. If everything is in God, then nothing is outside of God. So the people that you have challenges with, you got to start seeing those people differently. The people you don't like, you got to start seeing those people differently. Because those people are not evil. Those people are only reflections of something in you that is begging to be transformed. And so the denial is only intended to help you transform your consciousness. It's never intended to help you change somebody else. When we see something appearing as evil, we have an opportunity and an obligation as Christian metaphysicians, as those who look beyond what is showing up, those who look above what is showing up. We have an opportunity and an obligation to reduce the appearance back to the principle. What am I saying? I'm saying it takes conscious, consistent, intentional effort to look at a thing and start to deconstruct that thing and take that thing apart and start to find the God particles in the thing that's showing up. So you go to see your doctor and your doctor gives you this diagnosis. And the diagnosis is one that scares you. The diagnosis is one that shakes the very foundation of everything you say you believe. You have to begin to deconstruct that thing to find the God particles inside even the diagnosis that's being presented to you, because just because it's showing up does not mean that it is real. Say for, the spiritual being. So you always then want to take it back to the realization of yourself as a spiritual being. See, the thing has no power over you as a spiritual being. As John or Jane or Mary or Tom or Chris or Curtis, Matthew, Mark or Luke, those things can have power over you. But as the Christ, as the I am that you are, those things have no power over you. So then we have to decide from what state of awareness are we going to most consistently live. Does that make sense? Let's keep going. The second error thought that we deny says that there is no absence of life, substance, or intelligence anywhere. So we have seen and we understand that the real is spiritual. The things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. By using this denial, we soon break the bondage to matter and the material conditions, and we give ourselves the opportunity to get free. Let's take this next one. This is a good one. The next statement says that pain, sickness, poverty, old age, and death cannot. Pain, sickness, poverty, old age, and death cannot master me, for they are not real. Now, I want you to take your pen, and I want you to put next to real, I want you to put the word God. Because whenever we begin to talk about what is real, for us, real is a synonym for God. So when we say that the thing is not real, we're saying it is not real because it is not of God. It has not the life and intelligence of God to support it. The only life that it has is the God life that you've been giving it. So when I'm broke, it's because I have been giving life to this idea of lack. Now, how backwards and upside down is that? I'm going to use my life, the life of God in me, to give life and breath and existence to something I don't even want? That is, in metaphysical terms, that's what we call malpractice. That's what we call malpractice. And, you know, I don't ever want to offend my physicians who are in the room, so I'm not talking about you. But sometimes you go to a physician and she or he does not perform according to the procedures and the standards of the industry, and you wind up worse off than before you got there. But we do that to ourselves all the time. We malpractice. We give life to stuff we don't want. So we say that pain, sickness, poverty, and old age and death cannot master me, for they are not real. Now, I want you to notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't say that they won't challenge me. It doesn't say that they won't confront me. It doesn't say that they won't conflict me. It doesn't say that they won't contradict me. It just says that they are not real. So don't ever think that because you have decided to take up this walk as a Christian metaphysician that it's all going to be rosy and gravy and you don't have any challenges and nothing presents itself to you. Nothing gets further from the truth. As a matter of course, it shows up sometimes just because you say this is what you believe. Oh, really? You believe that you are God's millionaire. Oh, really? You believe that you can affirm yourself and attract the person you want? What you gonna do with the one you got right now? Oh, really? I'm just saying that the intelligence in our soul will never be mocked. We will never demonstrate beyond the level of consciousness and understanding that we have. And we have to be careful and we have to be mindful because, listen, and I'm guilty of it, we lead you right into saying stuff that's true. We lead you right into it. I am one with God. I am one with all people. I am so one with all life. I am one with the one. And then two disparate diagnoses show up. One that says you're one with the one, and one that says it's almost seeming like you don't even know the one. And so we must, as working Christian metaphysicians, remember that this is not a way to have you be exempt from life. and from life's challenges. It does not exempt you from life's challenges, but it does give us an approach by which to go through this thing that we call life. And it gives us the ability, Reverend Norton, to go through in a way that is empowered. Does that make sense? This last denial says that there is nothing in all the universe for me to fear. For greater is he that is within me than he that is in the world. So I have it. It's within me. I just have to be willing to tap it, access it, resource it, and use it. We're ready to move to affirmations. So tool number one is your denial. Tool number two, your affirmations. Now, affirmations give us the ability to claim, to accept, to realize the newer, the truer, the more correct thoughts, feelings, attitudes, and beliefs. An affirmation is a declaration that is given silently or audibly that something is true, wanted, productive, or good. Now, when we affirm this in the face of the appearance to the contrary. See, this is the work of faith. As a matter of fact, even our scripture reference when Paul is saying, no, that's not the right one. It's actually a letter to Paul when he says, the things that are seen are temporal, but the things that were not seen are eternal. But before he gets there, he talks about Abraham. Because it is required that you use faith whenever you are using denials and affirmations. Use your perceiving power of the mind to link and shape the substance that is not showing up yet. But just like this is showing up, when you use your denials and affirmations properly, you can have the new desire show up. Are you still with me? Sometimes we're not able to see how by simply affirming a thing to be true, that it will come to pass. Sometimes we just can't see it. Sometimes it's easier to affirm it than it is to believe it and see it. But affirmations, we say, is the means by which we give our conscious consent to the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. So affirmations then help us make firm in consciousness all that we are meant to be. So there are 4 basic truths of thought that we should affirm in our minds. The first is related to the truth of God, and it says that God is life, love, intelligence, substance, omnipotence, omniscience, omnipresence. God is every good thing we desire to experience in our life, world, and affairs. But sometimes you have to be willing to tell your life what God is all about. See, sometimes in prayer, we can't help but remind God about the challenge that is presenting itself. A better approach might be to remind the appearance about all that God is. How does it flip when you start to tell the dis-ease about what God is? How does it change when we start to tell the challenge about what God is capable of? How does it shift the atmosphere in our souls when we begin to tell the appearance about the time we got over, or the time we came up, or the time we got through before? I like the saying where the storm, the challenge whispers to the warrior, you are not going to be able to withstand the storm. And the warrior whispers back, I am the storm. What we have an opportunity to do is to speak into our life and speak directly to the challenge. I am the storm. See, I know who I am. I love it when you sang it earlier today. I know who I am, but you don't let the challenge define you. You define the challenge. If I'm the winner, then the challenge has got to be a loser. You won't take me down. You won't defeat me. You won't beat me. I am God in expression. You don't know who you dealing with. You don't know what you dealing with. This is not the first time I've seen this little piddly challenge and stuff. I've been through hell, buddy, and I made it through. Stop playing. We know who we are. Oh no, you won't take us down. You won't take us out. You won't steal our joy. It's all right if you need to leave, go. I'm still gonna be good all by myself. Now, I understand, yes, things change, but God remains the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. I can depend on God. Stop letting the challenge dictate to you how you should respond. I was looking at something from Dr. Coleman's the other day. And it was a letter from the owners of the Burger King. And on the letter, it said, y'all keep parking in our parking lot. And we really need for you all to stop parking your nice cars in our parking lot. We can't even accommodate our own customers. Now, I'm adding a whole lot of stuff. It was a lot more professional than this. We can't even sell the Whoppers that we intend to sell because our folks can't get into our lot because your folks are in our lot. Please stop parking in a lot. But that wasn't the thing that was tripping me out. The thing that was tripping me out was on the backside of the letter. The Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman started writing out her lesson sermon. I say, yeah, dog, that's her. That's gangster right there. I hear your complaint, but this is what I'm about. We can do the same thing. On the back of whatever they're saying it is, write out your lesson sermon. Write out your good. Write out how you see it. Don't let them just tell you what it's supposed to be. You write your own story. Oh no, we believe in half-truth up in here. The second affirmation, it's a truth about humankind. It says, I am a child or manifestation of God. And every moment his love, his wisdom, his power flows into and through me. I am one with God, and I am governed by his love. See, I like this one for those times when I start to think that I am somehow, in some way, being taken advantage of by other people. See, I like this one because it reminds me to own who I am and whose I am, and to never give it away because of what somebody else thinks. You have to own your identity. That's what it is. It's your identity. You have to own your identity. And don't let somebody whisper something in your ear that causes you to forget who you are. It doesn't matter what they think about you. It doesn't matter what they say about you. None of that stuff changes how you have been made in the image and after the likeness. You are the picture and the frame. They can only stare at it from the outside. The goal of humankind is to remember that I am spirit, perfect, holy, harmonious, perfect, holy, harmonious, perfect, holy, harmonious, perfect, even though right now I smell like I've been drinking all night, still perfect. holy. See, even when I can't reconcile my own spirituality and oneness, I am whole, perfect, and complete in every way. But watch this. Just as I am that with me, I am also that with you. So when I understand who I am, I can't help but understand and have grace, compassion, and mercy for who you are. Because you and I are not different, we are the same. The thing that makes you one is the same thing that makes me one. We are not apart, we are together. Harmonious. Nothing can hurt me. Oh, I like this right here. Nothing can hurt me or make me sick or afraid. Nothing can hurt me or make me sick or afraid. And so then I must not give permission to those who I think come with the intention to try to hurt me. The scripture says it this way: you meant it for evil. And since I understand that there is no evil in reality, it has to work out for my good. See, I don't know about you. Everything is working together for my good. I don't know about you. It's all working together for my good. The way it ends up in the story for me is I win. I get the blessings I'm supposed to have. I get the peace I'm supposed to have. I get the joy I'm supposed to have. I get the prosperity I'm supposed to have. I'm hanging out with the right people all the time. Everything works together for my good. How can it not? I am God in expression. So good travels with me. I don't have to wait for good to catch up with me. Good is all around me. You walk in the house and people got attitudes. Don't let them take you to red level. Start whistling. Start whistling. What's your favorite tune? Whistle it. What reminds you that they can't hurt you? See, some people ain't happy until you sad. Don't let them do that to you. Don't let them put their dysfunction off on you. Whistle. What's your tune? What makes you happy? What shifts your atmosphere? What helps you change how your mind was just regulating from one space into a new space? Shoot, the fact that you mad don't mean I have to be mad. As a matter of fact, I'm straight. I told you last week, I'm straight. I don't know what you mad about. Everything is working together for my good. Amen. The last affirmation says, God works in me to will and to do whatsoever he wishes to do. And God cannot fail. Now, if God cannot fail, work with me with this, walk with me. If God cannot fail, then neither can you. Watch this, watch this. Understand that sometimes what we call failure is really just the result. We don't get the result we want, so we call it failure. But it's really an indication of what you should not do in order to get the result that you want. If you settle for it being failure, then you might not begin to put the corrective actions and strategies in place to get to where you desire to go. But if you understand that it's not failure, but it's merely the result, then the result will say to you, don't go left if you intend to be all right. And God cannot fail. But you do have to change and evolve your approach so that you can get to where it is you intend to go. You win this story. You win at life. I'm telling you, I read the book of life from the beginning to the end. And your name was in it. And what I saw on the last page of the last chapter is that you win. You just have to know how to use the tools to help you get to where you want to be. God bless you.